In a poll that should surprise really nobody, a majority of Americans now support decriminalization of marijuana and do not support the federal government getting involved in states that have already legalized marijuana. Hey, I'm Chad Hasty, host of the Chad Hasty Show, which airs weekday mornings 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 a.m. KFYO. The Washington Times with the news story about a Quinnipiac poll. A majority of Americans support legalizing marijuana and are against the government enforcing federal laws against pot in states that permit it, according to the new poll. 70% of voters are opposed to the government interfering in states with legal marijuana laws on the books, and 58% of voters said the plant should be federally legalized altogether. Quote, every party, gender, education, age, and racial group supports the legalization of marijuana except Republicans, which it's kind of an odd way to put that when you say every party when one of the major parties doesn't support it. Who are opposed 62 to 33%, and voters over 65 years old who are opposed 50 to 41%. Hispanic voters are divided 48 to 48% according to Quinnipiac. The demographics say marijuana here to stay either for fun or to provide medical comfort, say Tim Malloy, the pollster's assistant director. Quinnipiac based its findings on a nationwide survey of over 1,100 adults. This doesn't really surprise me at all, and I think the only number that actually does surprise me is the Republican number. That's actually the amount of Republicans opposed to legalizing marijuana. It seems as though that is a little bit higher than what it has been in the past. I think I've seen polls where, in the 50s, Republicans oppose legalizing marijuana. I think, really when you look at this number will continue to grow as more and more younger people are just fine with the sale of with marijuana, and if people want to do it inside their homes, that's perfectly fine with them. That's where I am on the issue. Part of me does fear, legalizing yet another substance that will, hurt people's minds and everything else. But listen, alcohol, is not that great for you. It's legal. Marijuana, it does have its benefits, I believe, on the health side, on the medical side of it. I think medical marijuana should absolutely be available. I have no problem with that. But overall, listen, if you want to smoke marijuana in your home, you want to do that. I personally have no problem with that. Whatever you do in your home is perfectly fine and acceptable because it is behind closed doors. That's you. Now, if you get high and you decide to get out on the road and drive and hurt somebody, then I have a problem. Just like with alcohol, if you're intoxicated, you drive and hurt somebody, we're going to have some problems there, which should be the case. I think that you're going to see these views continue to change with conservatives, with Republicans, as they take a more maybe libertarian stance on this, and maybe a small government stance on this. This is whatever you do in your home, that's up to you. Don't impact anyone. Don't affect other people outside of your home if you decide to do that. Now, on the issue of should the federal government enforce the federal law on states that have gone through and legalized marijuana? That's a gray area, and it's a big question mark, isn't it? Because Republicans are all about states' rights. Conservatives are all about states' rights. But you could make the argument that the states are actually in the wrong because they are approving something that is illegal on the federal level. Just like, let's say the state of California wants to become a sanctuary state, right? Yeah, we've talked about that. Well, conservatives have a problem with that because it goes against federal law, it goes against federal immigration law. So I think where the laws need to change is on the federal level, and then states can have their own little micro laws on this if they want to. But if we're going to have legal marijuana, it needs to be done on a federal level, not a statewide level, because again, you're driving state to state, you're going to be in violation. Too many things can happen here, and there are too many question marks, in my opinion, on this, because it is a substance that is federally prohibited. I think the states need to fall in line on that. I'm all about states' rights, but I do, again, when it comes to something that is federally against the law, are states going to come in and say, bank robberies are fine now in the state of California. We can do that, or in the state of Texas, or anywhere else. That's perfectly fine. No, of course not. But, again, if Texas or California or, another liberal state more likely were to come out and say we want to have a sanctuary state where illegal immigration is perfectly fine and we're not going to hand over anyone to the federal government or to ICE, conservatives, rightly so, have a problem with that. That we are a nation of laws. Laws need to be enforced. If we have a problem with those laws, they need to be addressed on the legislative level or through the ballot box. Either way, and I would be perfectly fine, by the way, getting rid of the federal prohibition on marijuana. I've never smoked pot or anything like that, but again, I am somebody who believes that if you want to do that in the privacy of your own home, that's perfectly fine. I do understand, and some conservatives get mad at me, some Republicans get mad at me for my stance on this. I do understand the so-called slippery slope. Well, if that's true, what about meth? What about cocaine? What about some of these other more harder drugs that have an impact? That's a good debate point. It really is. Marijuana, I believe. Enough studies have been done to show that while there are risks to smoking marijuana, they are basically on the same level as drinking alcohol. And you can't say the same thing about meth. You can't say the same thing about cocaine. So I kind of throw that argument out the window. What do you think? Let me know below. Should the federal government change their marijuana laws? Yes or no? Let me know in the comment section below. Have a great day. Follow me on Twitter, Chat HD Radio. We'll talk later.